Hypnosis, as scientifically valid and amazing as it is, there's some weird history here, guys.
There certainly is.
You're really going to enjoy this. Let's talk about James Esdaile and everything that happened in the 1800s that led up to him writing his wonderful book, Mesmerism in India.
Right.
And of course, we're going to have the requisite discussion of testicles and maybe some other things.
Well, there will be some other things here. James Esdaile was an Anglo-Scottish surgeon, military surgeon. He went to Calcutta, India, and he was doing a lot of work there with mesmerism, which was early hypnosis, a lot of hypnotic passes, all of these different things.
Right.
But he got some amazing results that were documented in the book you just mentioned.
Yeah, now going back, we didn't yet, well, I wasn't even alive, nor were you, but the universal we didn't have an understanding of what hypnosis really was, and Mesmer came on the scene, and you've talked about this in other videos, so shortcut edition, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but Mesmer believed that he had magnetic freaking powers, currents running through his body, and that if he would wave, magnets, he could cause blood clots to form, and then one day when he didn't have his magnets and he faked it and it worked, he thought, oh, me, I've got magnetic powers. Boy. And
he was doing suggestion, indirect suggestion. He was doing primitive hypnosis, which worked anyway. Although back then when Esdaile was doing this, it would take maybe a couple of hours to get someone deep enough that they could do surgery.
Basically magnetic passes.
He'd pay other people. He had assistants who would just do these magnetic passes as you're lying down from your head down to your feet, and people would drift into trance.
So they were doing hypnosis without really knowing they were doing hypnosis. They called it mesmerism.
Yeah.
And so he did this in India.
He did.
And he did surgeries. He was a doctor. He was a surgeon.
Yeah.
And he cut stuff out of people. They didn't even have anesthetic.
No anesthetic. Chloroform and ether had not come along yet. Certainly not nitrous oxide. So the only anesthetic then was he gave you half a bottle of rum to drink. So you come out of surgery feeling like crap and you got a hangover as well.
And without anesthetic and modern medicine, what was the death rate of
50%?
Like 50% of people.
Mortality from infection and shock.
Right.
And after Esdaile started working, he reduced it to about 5%.
Yeah, it was massive reduction.
Amazing. Yeah.
So it goes to show you the power of hypnosis and suggestion with surgery. They didn't have anesthetic. Now we do, and so death rate's very, very low. People don't go into shock, right? That's
pretty much. And you get infections as well because they know about a sepsis. But back then, Esdaile did about 300 serious operations and about 1,000 lesser ones. I mean, he did it all the time. Well, one of the things that James Esdaile did was he specialized in removing 80-pound testicular tumors from a parasite called elephantiasis. So
now, going back many, many years, I remember sitting in your classroom taking the architecture of hypnosis back in whenever year it was, and you told the story, and I remember the first time you told the story about James Esdaile cutting out 80-pound testicular tumors, which begs the question,
why do you wait until it reaches 80 pounds before you seek medical attention?
And you got to carry it around in a freaking wheelbarrow, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, YouTube didn't exist at this point in time, so there was nothing for me to look up. And eventually, I thought, Mike must be exaggerating, right? Eventually I found a copy of Mesmerism in India, the PDF version, because it's obviously well past its copyright dates.
For sure, yeah.
So it's online. You can find the book, and it wasn't just one. I thought it was like one case when you first told the story. Many.
India was rife with this parasite. But, but he went beyond this, Chris. Let's tell the whole story.
Really?
It is said by one particular hypnotist, and we've been unable to verify, so we're only just quoting somebody else said this in one of his books. He said that Esdaile not only removed 80-pound testicular wheelbarrow-sized tumors, but he also severed penises. Now, one wonders, the penisectomy, what put this in his mind? Hey, I'm not feeling that well.
Well, I'm down here anyway.
We should cut your penis off and see how you do with that.
So this came from
Not the first place I go.
this came from an anonymous hypnosis author called
the Rogue Hypnotist.
The Rogue Hypnotist. Supposedly, no one knows who this is.
Yeah.
And when Mike, you read this in his book just yesterday, right? And that's where we thought, oh, so it turns out Esdaile didn't just stop at the testicles; he went on.
He went on to the privy member as well. Now we've been unable to verify this.
We
through secular
searched,
sources.
and when you don't know who the author actually is, and you can't back it up, we can only say someone else
said
this
it.
is true. We'll let you decide. So there you have it.
It's an interesting, weird time in hypnosis. It was expanding rapidly as the tumors were, and they began to have a medical usage. And this is what James Esdaile is known for, these amazing surgeries, because as a doctor, he documented everything flawlessly. And it's a really good book, but he went to England. He couldn't make it work there in the stomach. I don't believe this Esdaile. It didn't work in London. It didn't have the atmosphere of Calcutta that was steeped in occultism and mystery and incense and all these weird beliefs. It was ripe for hypnosis. So he began to not only get rid of the tumors, but James Esdaile was the man who managed to get the dicks out of his life. Permanently.
Supposedly. Now, there's
do the same thing.
The more modern day results here are that Dave Ellman rediscovered the Esdaile State.
And we teach it now.
So now there's much easier ways to get people into this Esdaile, what we call the Esdaile State. Well, we don't call it. We call it that because that's its actual accepted name.
Instead of hypnotic coma, or horrible term.
So no longer do we need to do these so-called magnetic passes and spend 2 hours, but we can take people through the classic Dave Ellman induction, and from there, a series of deepening steps that results in what one other trainer used to call the hypnotic coma.
Or plenary trance,
Horrible name, the hypnotic
sometimes
coma.
they just reduce it to the coma.
The coma. I'm going to put you in the coma.
No, you're not.
Yeah. So if you want to learn how to put people in the Esdaile state, we teach it in the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. It starts from the Dave Ellman induction. We have a great video on YouTube. Many, many years ago, we recorded a demonstration of the Ellman induction.
Right. And then the Esdaile state.
Right. And so the Esdaile state is quite useful. We have anesthetic these days, so you don't need to use it for surgery.
Right. Let's just point out, we teach this in Architecture of Hypnosis, our flagship training in Toronto, but we stop short of the penisectomy.
I would hope so. So there is some weird and wacky history of hypnosis for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Well, if you drop us a comment and let us know what else you want to know about the history of hypnosis or strange and interesting facts, we'll probably consider doing other videos, because
I think so.
I mean, it's kind of funny to talk about this
Pretty
subject.
much.
So we'll leave it at that. If this was useful to you, if you think it'll be useful to anyone else, share it with other people. Drop us a comment, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks again.
And good night.